Being alone is something most people try to avoid. They don't like silence. They don't like empty time. They don't like being by themselves. Because when a person is alone, there are no distractions. There is no noise, no one to talk to, nothing to hide behind. It is just the person and their thoughts. At first, this feels uncomfortable, not because something is wrong, but because something is finally real. Most people spend their entire lives surrounded by noise. They wake up and check their phone. They go through their day talking to others. They fill every empty moment with something: music, videos, conversations, anything to avoid silence. Because silence does something very powerful. It forces you to face yourself. When everything becomes quiet, your thoughts become louder. You start remembering things you tried to forget: mistakes, failures, missed opportunities, moments where you could have done better but didn't. And that creates discomfort, a deep kind of discomfort that most people are not ready to face. So what do? They escape. They pick up their phone. They open social media. They scroll without thinking, not because they enjoy it, but because they are trying to avoid that feeling. They're not running from loneliness. They're running from themselves. This is the truth most people never realize. Being alone is not painful. Facing your own mind is. And that is why people fear it. Think about it. When was the last time you sat in silence, without touching your phone, without listening to anything, without distracting yourself? For most people, that moment never comes. Because the second silence appears, they try to fill it. But what if you didn't? What if instead of running, you stayed? At first, it would feel uncomfortable. Your mind would jump from one thought to another. You would feel restless. You would feel like doing something, anything, just to escape. But if you stay long enough, something begins to change. Your thoughts start slowing down. Your mind becomes clearer. You begin to observe instead of react. And for the first time, you start seeing yourself clearly. You notice your habits, the things you do every day without thinking. You notice your patterns, the same mistakes repeating again and again. You start to understand why your life is the way it is. And this is where most people stop, because this stage requires honesty. You can no longer blame others. You can no longer make excuses. You can no longer ignore the truth. You are forced to accept reality. And reality is not always comfortable, but it is necessary. Because without truth, there is no growth. This is why being alone is powerful. Not because it feels good, but because it shows you what needs to change. While others are busy distracting themselves, you are becoming aware. And awareness is the first step to change. Once you understand yourself, you start making better decisions. You stop repeating the same mistakes. You stop wasting time on things that don't matter. You begin to focus. And focus is something very rare today. Most people cannot focus for even a few minutes. Their mind is constantly distracted, always looking for the next thing. But when you spend time alone, you train your mind to stay still. You become more patient, more calm, more controlled. And this control is what separates strong people from weak ones. A weak mind reacts to everything. A strong mind observes and chooses. And that ability is built in silence, not in noise, not in crowds, not in constant interaction, but in moments when you are alone with nothing but your thoughts. That is where real strength is built. So the next time you feel alone, don't try to escape it. Don't run towards distractions. Sit with it. Listen to your thoughts. Understand what your mind is trying to tell you. Because within that silence, there is something important. Something most people never discover. Clarity. Clarity about who you are. Clarity about what you want. Clarity about what needs to change. And once you have clarity, everything becomes easier. Decisions become simple. Focus becomes natural. Growth becomes possible. And it all starts with being alone. Most people believe they are living their life, but in reality, they are following others. They wake up and immediately check their phone. They see what others are doing, what others are thinking, what others are saying. And without realizing it, their mind starts copying everything. This is how distraction begins. Not as something big, but as something small, repeated every day. A person scrolls for a few minutes, then a few more. Then hours pass. At the end of the day, they feel busy, but they did nothing meaningful. This is the trap. Distraction makes you feel active while actually making you weak. Most people don't notice this because everyone around them is doing the same thing. They talk about random things. They spend time in useless conversations. They chase entertainment. And slowly, their focus disappears. Their ability to think deeply becomes weaker. Their attention span becomes shorter. They cannot sit in one place without needing something to do. This is why being alone feels difficult. Because their mind is not trained for silence. It is trained for noise. Constant noise. When a person is always surrounded by noise, they lose control over their own mind. They react to everything. They get influenced easily. They follow trends. They follow people. They stop thinking for themselves. And this is where the real problem begins. Because a person who cannot think for themselves cannot build a strong life. They depend on others for decisions. They depend on others for motivation. They depend on others for direction. And without realizing it, they lose control. But when a person starts spending time alone, this begins to change. At first, the mind resists. It wants distraction. It wants noise. It wants something to escape into. But if the person stays consistent, slowly the mind adapts. It becomes calmer. It stops reacting to every small thing. It starts focusing. This is where clarity begins. A person starts asking better questions. What am I doing with my life? What is actually important? What should I focus on? These are questions most people never ask because they are too distracted. But in silence, these questions become unavoidable. And once you start asking these questions, you start changing. You begin to remove unnecessary things from your life. You stop wasting time on meaningless activities. You stop caring about things that don't matter. And slowly, your life becomes simpler, more focused, more controlled. This is something the crowd will not understand. Because the crowd lives in distraction. They believe being busy means being productive, but that is not true. Being busy and being productive are not the same thing. A person can be busy all day and still achieve nothing, while another person can work in silence and make real progress. This is the power of focus. And focus is built in solitude. Not in noise, not in constant interaction, but in moments where you are alone and fully present. When you learn to sit alone without needing distraction, you gain control over your attention. And attention is one of the most powerful things you have. Where your attention goes, your life goes. If your attention is always on distractions, your life becomes distracted. If your attention is focused, your life becomes focused. This is why solitude is important. It helps you take back your attention. It helps you take back control. Because in a world full of distractions, the person who can stay focused has an advantage. A big advantage. While others are wasting time, you are building something. While others are following trends, you are creating your own path. And over time, this difference becomes huge. It separates average people from strong people, from people who control their life and those who are controlled by it. And it all begins with the ability to be alone, to sit in silence, to think clearly, to stay focused. Because once you master this, everything else becomes easier. When a person learns to stay alone, something begins to change. Not immediately, not suddenly, but slowly and deeply. At first, nothing feels different. The same thoughts appear. The same restlessness stays. The same urge to escape comes back again and again. But if the person does not give in, if they continue to sit in silence, the mind starts adapting. It becomes less reactive, less desperate, less dependent. And this is where real power begins. Because power is not about controlling others. Power is about controlling yourself, your thoughts, your emotions, your actions. Most people cannot do this because their mind controls them. They react without thinking, they get distracted easily, they follow impulses. But a person who spends time alone starts to notice these patterns. They begin to see how their mind works. They see how one thought leads to another, how one distraction turns into hours of wasted time. And once you see it clearly, you can start changing it. This is where discipline begins. Discipline is not something you force, it is something you build. And it is built in silence. When no one is watching, when no one is telling you what to do, when there is no pressure from outside, that is when your real habits are revealed. Do you stay focused, or do you get distracted? Do you continue working, or do you look for an escape? These small choices, made in moments of solitude, define your future. Because success is not built in public, it is built in private, in the quiet hours, in the moments when you are alone. While others are busy seeking attention, you are building yourself. While others are wasting time, you are improving. And no one sees it. That is what makes it powerful. Silent growth is dangerous because it happens without noise, without announcement, without showing off. Day by day, you become better, stronger, more focused, more disciplined. And one day, the results become visible. People see the outcome, but they do not see the process. They do not see the hours of silence, the moments of struggle, the times when you wanted to quit but didn't. This is why most people fail. They want results without going through solitude. They want success without building discipline. But that's not how it works. Everything meaningful requires time, requires effort, requires consistency. And solitude helps you build all three. Because when you are alone, you control your environment. You decide how to spend your time. You are not influenced by others. You are not distracted by unnecessary things. You have space to focus. And focus leads to progress. Even small progress, made consistently, creates big results over time. This is something most people ignore. They look for shortcuts. They look for quick success. But real growth is slow. It happens step by step, day by day. And solitude gives you the patience to stay on that path. It teaches you to delay gratification, to work without immediate reward, to stay consistent even when nothing seems to change. And this is what separates strong people from average ones. The ability to continue without needing constant results, without needing constant motivation. Because motivation comes and goes, but discipline stays. And discipline is built in solitude. When you learn to control your mind, you stop depending on feelings. You do what needs to be done, whether you feel like it or not. And that's real strength. Not physical strength, not external power, but internal control. The kind of control that allows you to stay focused while everything around you is distracting. The kind of control that allows you to stay calm when things are not going your way. The kind of control that allows you to keep moving forward no matter what. And all of this starts with being alone. Not escaping it, not avoiding it, but using it. Using it to build yourself. Using it to improve your mind. Using it to create a stronger version of yourself. Because in the end, the person who can control themselves can control their life. And that is the real power of solitude. After spending time alone, after facing your thoughts, after building control and discipline, something begins to change inside you. It is not something others can see immediately. It is not loud. It is not obvious. But it is real. You become calmer. Things that used to bother you no longer have the same effect. You do not react quickly. You do not get disturbed easily. You think before you respond. And that alone changes everything. Because most people live in reaction. They react to every situation, every opinion, every small problem, and that keeps them unstable. But when you develop control, you stop reacting. You start choosing. You choose what matters. You choose what deserves your attention and what does not. This makes your life simpler. Less noise, less stress, less confusion, more clarity, more focus, more control. You also stop depending on others, not in a negative way, but in a balanced way. You do not need constant attention. You do not need constant approval. You are comfortable on your own, and that gives you freedom. Freedom from expectations, freedom from pressure, freedom from unnecessary influence. This is something very few people achieve, because most people are always looking outside. They want validation, they want recognition, they want others to accept them. But when you spend time alone, you realize something important. You do not need all of that. You only need clarity. You only need direction. And once you have that, you move differently. You speak less, but your words have more meaning. You do less, but your actions have more impact. You focus more and waste less time. This is the transformation. From a distracted person to a focused one. From a reactive person to a controlled one. From a dependent person to an independent one. And it all happens quietly, without attention, without approval, without recognition. That is why most people never understand it, because they are looking for visible change. But real change starts inside, and slowly it reflects outside. You also become more selective about your time, about your energy, about the people you allow in your life. You no longer stay in places that drain you. You no longer waste time on things that do not matter. You protect your focus, and that is important. Because where your attention goes, your life goes. If you waste your attention, you waste your life. But if you protect it, you build something meaningful. This is why solitude is powerful. It teaches you what matters and what does not. It removes unnecessary noise and leaves only what is important. And once you see that clearly, you cannot go back. You cannot return to a distracted life, because now you understand the difference between noise and clarity, between distraction and focus, between weakness and strength. And that awareness stays with you. It guides your decisions. It shapes your actions. It builds your future. In the end, there are only two types of people: those who follow the crowd and those who walk their own path. The crowd is loud, but it is lost. The one who walks alone may feel lonely at times, but they are clear. They know where they are going. They know what they are doing, and that makes all the difference. So the next time you feel alone, do not see it as a weakness. Do not try to escape it. Use it. Sit in silence. Understand yourself. Build your mind. Because that time, that quiet time, is where your real strength is created. And the stronger you become inside, the less you will need from the outside. That is freedom. And that is the true power of being alone.